Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, I just found out that my brother has been perving on my wife and I'm disgusted. Background. My brother has been staying with us since lockdown, after his university closed. He couldn't stay with our parents because they just sold the house and moved to a one-bedroom apartment, and our sister lives in a different part of the country. He was the oops baby, so I hope that explains the age gap. My wife and I have a 5-bedroom home but currently don't have children yet. We decided to adopt 2 kids in our 40s, so we let him stay here. My brother has always been different. He's a bit of a loner and doesn't have a lot of friends outside of his online group. He's a shy geeky kid, but he's otherwise alright, or so I thought, when you get to know him. So, here's what happened. The Wi-Fi doesn't quite reach my brother's room, so he usually does his schoolwork and other stuff in the dining room. A few nights ago, I was walking to the fridge after waking up in the middle of the night. Wife and I sleep early, and saw my brother working on something out, and as I got closer, I saw a very compromising picture of my wife. Cleavage shot as she was gardening. He noticed me and quickly closed the window like he was watching adult videos. I was too shell-shocked to say anything at that time, and he just smiled awkwardly and ran to his room with the laptop. When I realized that something was up, I knew I had to find out. The next day, I asked my brother to pick up some groceries and some lunch for us, and while he was away, I went to his room. Something I've never done since he moved, and, well, it wasn't pretty. I saw a couple of my wife's bras and some of her panties, which I can only assume he used to pleasure himself. I took his laptop and decided to snoop. I knew his password because I borrowed his Crunchyroll account to watch this anime my friend recommended. I don't usually watch anime. There I saw some of the most sickening entries I've read. There were pictures of my wife in a towel, her working out, her in compromising positions, etc. All taken without her consent by the looks of it. The ducker even logs every time he touches himself to the image of my wife. The creepiest part? He sometimes listens in on us when we have sex. My wife can be a bit loud, but we didn't think it would be a problem since his bedroom was in a different part of the house, guest bedroom. I left the room feeling like I needed a shower. It was absolutely disgusting. Now I don't know what to do. I find myself fighting the urge to pummel him into next week every time I see him. I haven't told my wife yet cause I'm 100% sure she will feel violated and disgusted, so I want to find the best solution first before doing so. I so desperately want to kick him out, but he has nowhere else to go. Even if I do, what should I tell my parents? The truth? This will most likely break the family apart. I do plan on telling my wife soon, but if I do, I can almost guarantee she would want nothing to do with him and would never want to visit the family if he's around. I'm so ducking lost right now. Any advice will help. Still fighting the urge to beat my brother to a bloody pulp. Edit. If you're wondering, I did take pictures as proof. Small update. I told my wife. The Redditor who said I should tell her first before anything because she was the victim were absolutely right. I'm giving her all the power to decide what to do about it. A lot has happened, but there are still things that need to be settled. Too long to add here and too incomplete to make a new update post. Hopefully we'll have everything settled tomorrow or the day after. I'll write the update once everything is settled, and I calmed down. No, I'm not going to beat up my brother, but I have thought about it. A user in the comments said, the only reason you busted him that night was because he was working in the part of the house with Wi-Fi. No way he would risk having that laptop out of his bedroom unless he needed the internet. I hope it's not true, but those pics are likely now in places other than just the laptop. Another user said, make a copy of everything. Edit. Oops, pressed enter too soon. Everything, but you need that evidence. Take pics of what you found in his room and where you found it. Take it away. Tell your parents to collect him, confront him, then kick him out. He absolutely does not nor can't be trusted to be in your house or around your wife. Also tell her ASAP. She'll feel betrayed if you kick him out without telling her. She deserves to know. If you're not telling her because you're afraid of how she'll react, then that only proves that he needs to go and you need to tell her. I'm sorry, man. The next one is titled, Update to the Pervy Brother Story. This update was long overdue, so I apologize to everyone who waited for this. I've had daily messages asking me about what happened, and now that I'm in a better place to actually talk about it, I can tell everyone about what happened. First of all, thank you to the Redditors who pointed out that I should tell my wife first before confronting my brother. You were right, she did appreciate the fact that I gave her control over the situation. I told my wife the next day after posting, and needless to say, she did not take it well. She says she feels violated and unsafe in her own home. See, the thing is, my wife and I have been together for almost 15 years, so we literally saw this kid grow up. We took him out to the movies, to the beach, etc. We sometimes even joked to my parents that he was our practice baby. My wife has a tendency to distrust people in general, as a lot of people in her life have let her down in the past. Imagine how hurt and betrayed she was when she found out someone she trusted and loved dearly betrayed her like that. Honestly, if I wasn't consoling my wife then, I probably would have gone through with the initial idea and beat the ever-living crap out of my brother. After she calmed down and went to sleep, I called my sister and talked about the situation. My sister and I are close, given that we're Irish twins. I feel like she needed to know because she has 2 teenage daughters herself, and who knows what my brother would do to them if given the chance. We talked and she was clearly mad. She loves my wife like a sister and they're quite close themselves. She said she would support whatever decision we make and that our brother would also be unwelcome at her place for the foreseeable future. Then we confronted my brother. At first he denied it, but when I showed him the evidence, he started ugly crying and begging us to forgive him. I gave him an ultimatum. Either he lets me in his phone laptop and delete everything, or I call the police. There was so much more crap on his computer than I initially thought. So many more stolen pictures of my wife that were definitely taken without consent. The ducker even recorded the audio of us having sex. Who does that? So, after hours of me looking for as much crap as possible, and pretty much clearing most of his hard drive, he eventually left without much of a fight. Oh, and we definitely threw out my wife's defiled underwear and are most likely going to have the room he stayed in cleaned professionally. I checked and thankfully he didn't have any hidden cameras anywhere. Oh, and if you're wondering how he got pictures of my wife in a towel. The shower for the masters doesn't have hot water yet, so my wife uses the shared one in the same area. She would usually walk out of the bathroom with just a towel on and go change in our walk-in closet. This shouldn't have been a problem cause the guest bedroom was in a different part of the house far from the main bedrooms and it had its own bathroom, so my brother had no reason for being there. Needless to say, my wife is still shaken up about the whole thing, which is why I didn't think about writing an update until now. I'm sorry, but my wife's well-being is my priority above anything else. My mom eventually called me asking what happened. She seemed very confused, so I figured my brother didn't tell her anything at all. I told her what happened and needless to say, it did not end well. She kept asking me to forgive my brother and take him back in. She ranted about how difficult it would be to support him and how what I'm doing is breaking the family apart. I let her talk till I eventually said my brother would no longer be welcome in my home. I told her that she needed to get him therapy and that until then, there's no chance we would ever see him. My mom told me she'd talk to my sister about it, and I said, good luck, she's mad at him too. Not sure what's going to happen to our family now. The reason why we got the big house was because we wanted everyone to come over during the holidays and stay with us, but I'm not sure if my parents will at this point, and there's no chance my brother is ever coming back anytime soon. Thankfully my sister is 100% on my side and we're going to talk about what we're doing for Thanksgiving soon. My wife hasn't really been the same, but she's getting better now that my brother is gone. We're talking about therapy, which is something she's very willing to try out. We took a drive to the beach earlier, chill guys, we didn't leave the car, and talked about the future. We both agreed that after this whole COVID thing is over, we're going to finally start our family with kids. We want to. Being a mom is something she always wanted, but we both wanted to be financially secure enough to give them a good life and for us to also be in a position where we didn't have to work so much and just spend time with them. The sparkle in her eyes when we talked about our life together with kids told me that while things aren't good right now, we're going to be okay. I honestly can't wait to be a dad myself. So yeah, long story short, brother is gone, wife is still sad, sister is on my side, but mom isn't, and I'm going to be a dad in a few years. Thanks to everyone who gave me their advice. It honestly helped me clear my head and make the right decision to tell my wife first. Oh, and to answer questions that may come up. No, we did not go to the police. My brother deleted everything voluntarily and left without a trace. I'm sure the pictures are still out there somewhere, but thankfully they aren't too explicit that it would severely damage my wife's reputation. And no, we aren't going to try and get pregnant or anything like that. We plan on adopting, which is something we both talked about early on. The next one is titled, Genuine Change to Save Relationship or Enough is Enough. I, 24F, and my boyfriend, 24M, have been together for a bit over 2 years, FWB for a year before that. We're both pretty independent people, but he does love his self-time a lot more than I do. We hang out 1 to 2 times a week. I've gotten accustomed to his boundary of self-time and hobbies, but lately I've been overseeing that my needs, quality time, wants, simple like bike riding, drive-in theater, kayaking, gym together, haven't been met. If anything, it's been pushed out. I took a step back and jotted down his behaviors in the past 2 years. He values his self-time more than our quality time, is unwilling to do hobbies that I want to do, doesn't plan or do anything special for myself, or us, still says white lies, hysterically laughs over immature things, doesn't think about our future, is very impulsive with big purchases, etc. But I have gone out of my way to plan dates, our future, adventures, that mainly get shot down. C. He cancels last minute. Find hobbies we both like, pick up on hobbies only he likes, etc. just to spend time with him as much as I can. I've mentioned my desire to want him to put in effort for our quality time more plenty in the past. He will argue back, then next day say I'm right, then do minimal to nothing about it. Then the cycle starts over. However, these last few weeks I've become more confident and sterner with asking for the same thing I have been, and that serious conversation turned into him calling me crazy, overwhelming, and asking for too much. He got really frustrated, raised his voice the entire time, and said he wouldn't change his priorities or ways because he's not an emotional guy to do those types of things for me. Next day he said I was right and says he really realizes what's at stake and that he wants to fix it. He's been planning some dates and events coming up and actually going through with it. C. He says he wants a future with me. But how do I know it's genuine? How long am I supposed to give him? I feel emotionally and mentally drained, checked out, especially after his initial and harsh reaction to my last serious conversation. I feel like over 2 years is plenty to get someone to change. And I also feel like I shouldn't have had to ask so many times for him to change. He should just want to do those things naturally, right? I look at the bigger picture and don't think he's a bad guy or I'm a bad girl, or that either of us are asking for too much, just more so our personalities aren't meant to be together. I feel like I've been ready to be at the next stage where he's now finally starting to realize the steps to even get to the next stage and hasn't started. Any thoughts? A user in the comments said, I was in a relationship like this for 4 years. It only got worse from this point. The only thing you can expect is exactly what you've seen so far. You're already noticing the cycles, they continue. It will be the same game over and over of reeling you back in just enough to keep you and give you hope, until it's pointed out again that nothing changes. I suggest you try to move on. Another user said, generally, a person shows genuine interest by making time for the person they're interested in. This is clearly not happening. He may want to be with you for whatever reason, but making time for you and showing interest in your passions is not a priority. You won't change that with demands. Either he wants to make time for you, or he doesn't. So, time to move on? The next one is titled, Update. My, 24, boyfriend has been cheating on me, 24, for the past year, explains his selfish behavior. I found out on our vacation we took to try for us again, to relight the spark. I shouldn't have snooped, but I did. First time in 2.5 years have I ever looked at his phone, due me trusting in him being very insecure about it, and had I not done so he would have married me and taken this to his grave. Guaranteed. Completely blindsided, but in hindsight I can see the red flags that were covered by huge amounts of trust and hope I gave. Shame on me. His overly selfish need for absurd amounts of alone time was really to talk to his other girls. His commitment issues to saving up for a forever home with me was really because he was spending money to buy them jewelry, clothes, shoes, vacation trips, etc. He verbally and emotionally supported their hobbies more than me and mine. He even told them he loved them. I suppose I know this was what I needed to validate the void of love I felt was missing. I don't know why it had to be this way, but I'm thankful this closed my chapter now rather than later. He doesn't know I know yet. I plan to confront and then ghost him tomorrow. If I can say anything, please remember, do not ever settle for anything less than you deserve. You shouldn't have to change someone or tell them how to treat you. If they love you, they will do so willingly. Can't wait to move on tomorrow. First, I wanted to say thank you for so much support, kind words, and stories that you all provided on my post. I was overwhelmed with emotions, but more importantly I felt so validated with how I felt about the situation. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Many of you asked for an update on the confrontation that occurred yesterday. I can tell you it was more difficult than I expected. But I am free now. Apologies in advance for the length. We met at the first place we ever met at to grab food, public area, and I had a family member watch from the parking lot. Thank you for the safety advice. He knew we were going to talk about us and our relationship considering the month of him trying was over but didn't know about the cheating aspect. I slowly started the conversation to reflect back on our vacation and how it went. Then proceeded to talk about our entire relationship, asking him if he ever felt like I didn't meet his expectations, if there were voids I didn't fill, if I could have provided more, etc. His response was, no, you always tried for my hobbies, my needs, and wants. And I always respected that. I then reminded him that I had a void I felt needed to be filled. I talked about how I thought it was for him to travel more with me, or to do hobbies I liked to do, spend quality time. But I said I realized the void was true and sincere love. He questioned it. Confrontation started. I told him he wouldn't have messaged those girls, sent them money, bought them materialistic items, told them he loved them, etc. if he truly loved me and if I had filled his needs, wants. He was taken back, completely blindsided like he did to me for the past year. He asked how I knew this, expected. I was prepared per your guys' advice. Told him it didn't matter. He pressured. I was upfront and told him I looked through his phone on Sunday but that he had no right to be mad over that right now. He proceeded to tell me. It wasn't my fault. She was the one who lured me in, and I felt like I had to provide for her. She's the one who kept contacting me. We never did anything physical, so it doesn't matter or mean anything. I called him on his bullcrap. Then, he had a panic attack. And I lost control of my strength and courage for further confrontation. I felt for him. I don't know why. I suppose the caring nature in me just worried for him. We gave it time to calm down. Until I realized he truly still only cares about himself. A few things he mentions right after his panic attack were: everyone's going to hate me. I'm going to lose all my friends. I can't live in this city anymore. People are going to think I'm a bad person. I don't know what to do. I don't know why I did it when I had it all with you. I just love the attention I get from these girls. I love the attention. Said this about 10x. His actions after were very strange and confused me, but I think I need to realize it's attempt of manipulation. He said he was going to block, unfollow, delete me from everything and did so right in front of me. He told me multiple times that he bought a ring to propose to me soon. He asked if I never found this out, would we have worked through our issues, in up. He said he would have told me about the girls before proposing next year or when we were married, and assumed I'd stay. He asked if we could remain friends and talk still. He apologized with just, I'm sorry. Nothing specific for what he was sorry for. Didn't acknowledge that I deserved better. But admitted he was a monster and lost something great. We agreed he would tell his family and I would tell mine. I just strongly stated he needs to be truthful so they know, and so he can learn from it if he chooses to. I told him I'm moving forward with no contact with him whatsoever. I'm free now. It wasn't easy doing this face to face, but I feel like it needed to happen. It's now time to reflect on this experience and look for better days to come. And keep my strength high during this next phase. Thank you everyone again for your support and encouragement, it's helped tremendously. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.